y'all? Welcome in, welcome in. Man, the game just released a Candace Assassination track. Yeah, I heard it, bro. I heard the Candace Owens Assassination track released by the game. Don't mind that box back there. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the War Sheet Podcast. Listen, we got a lot to talk about and discuss, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this thing. Let's climb on in this thing, man. Let's climb on in this thing, y'all. We got a lot to talk about and discuss. I know I ain't been on here in a little bit, but trying to tell you now, ready to rock and roll. I'm actually gearing up and getting ready to start doing quite a bit of promo, or quite a bit of videos. But I want to, of course, keep my same flock day, first day Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And staying consistent with that. But I'm gonna give it a little bit of time because we're gonna get in this thing and we're gonna get after this conversation. I think it's important for us to have this real quick. Very important for us to have this conversation, y'all. Let y'all jump in this thing real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We got a couple things to go over. So let's get busy. Let's get busy. Now, I know for sure the game, the Candace Owens assassination track, and I'm going to start with this conversation, but I kind of want to start in the Daniel Muir situation. Daniel Muir, I know a lot of you have already saw that there's been some new charges being brought against Daniel Muir, okay? And some that is not very favorable for him, okay? Hopefully I'm not lagging or nothing. Y'all got me? We good? Hopefully, and there's charges that are not very favorable to him. But I've been predicting this. I've already predicted this. If you guys are not a member of the War Sheet Podcast, become a member today. Go ahead and sign up for the membership. And I did a full extensive breakdown and video on the Daniel Muir trial, where he's currently at right now. And I also made predictions as to how this thing was going to play out. And so far, all the predictions that I've made have come to fruition. I'm trying to tell you, I already put it out there. Sometimes when I put stuff out there, man, I just let it simmer, and then I let it simmer, and then we see what happens. We see what unfolds, what comes from it. But I let those things simmer. But I predicted where exactly Daniel Muir was going to head to, where it was going to take place. I predicted this in that other live stream that I did for members only. So if y'all check out the members only live stream with the Daniel Muir trial, what I predicted then is what's currently taking place right now in that Daniel Muir case. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if y'all not familiar with Daniel Muir is an ex-NFL player, right? I believe he went to the Super Bowl as well. And he's recently been arrested for domestic violence. He put his hands on his son. You understand what I'm saying? So he put his hands on his son. And so they actually took him to jail and things like that. But of course, what Daniel Muir and his wife, Christina Muir, they were holding back or withholding information and not disclosing anything to the public or to law enforcement when they requested it. So they were also charged not only with they were charged with obstruction of justice, and this is a felony offense. And it seems like like I said, it don't even seem like it is. Everything that I predicted would happen in this trial, in this case, is coming to fruition. I'm really just trying to give it some time for people to climb on in this thing even more. But honestly, I said that this is what they do. They were going to move forward and bring new charges. They were going to do things like this because he's representing himself, but he doesn't understand. Daniel Muir don't understand. And also Priest Baldwin, the one who heads it up, the one who is orchestrating the whole thing over there in Straitway. Priest Baldwin don't get it and don't understand. Obviously, it's not registering and clicking in his mind that if you have a victim, you cannot go in there and think you're going to try to exercise any sort of private rights, right? You're not going to go in there exercising these private rights if you got a victim. If you got a victim on your case, right, you got a flesh and blood person, they are not going to allow you to exercise private rights, meaning that you can say that you're a man standing in court, things like that. if you're trying to exercise constitutional law, constitutional rights, common law rights, some uniform commercial codes, some USC's, United States codes. These things you cannot exercise. You can't exercise them if you have a flesh and blood victim. You just can't do it. So it's like, you gotta kind of go with the flow of things. You can't just go jump out there and start talking. Right? You know what I mean? So we know that Daniel Muir and Christina Muir are representing themselves in court. We know that they are now filing paperwork effectively, trying to exercise these constitutional rights, things like that, maybe classifying their son as their property. I also told you that only one thing would really make a man go that hard on his own son and put his hands on him like that and beat him near death. Listen, or not to, let me not say to near death, beat him as badly as he did beat him. You understand what I'm saying? And I told you that it was some sort of violation against another child or something like that that would probably force him to want to do that. And then it came out now, right? They already came out. They already came out and they already stated that that it was his son who actually violated a young man or young boy, whatever. But in these cult-like environments, things like that take place. And that was one of the biggest things that I feared, right? Not even feared. That was one of the biggest things that I was concerned about, was in these cult-like environments that these individuals would be starting to do things like this, right? Taking advantage of young children, whatever it may be. We have a child who actually violated another child, and these types of things is something that they try to sweep under the rug. You didn't hear this from Dow. You didn't hear this from anybody at Straitway that, oh man, this is what took place and they had to deal with it aggressively. You didn't hear none of that, man. Effectively, what you heard is nothing from them. They didn't tell you anything. They didn't give you any information. They didn't fill nobody in. Now we have the courts who are bringing all to light, who is filling everybody in as to what's truly going on. And you see how willing they are to harbor a secret. You get what I'm saying? You see how willing they were to harbor a secret from the people, right? They were very willing to harbor or control the narrative when it came to this young boy, the Muir boy, when it came to him violating other little children that stayed or lived on that land over in Straitway, Goshen, Indiana, right? Straitway, Goshen, Indiana. When it came to those violations, when it came to him doing those things, they tried to keep that under wraps. How many of these types of situations are they going to hide from the people? Are they going to keep under wraps? Shalom, everybody. Welcome in. Come on, climb on in this thing. How many of these things are they going to keep under wraps? I mean, how many of these codes going to really start to let people get violated and injured before they actually realize that they got to take control of the situation, before a law enforcement has to step in and control the whole thing? Mentioned a skull fracture in a recent article. Yeah, skull fracture, everything. ChatGPT lawyer. Yeah, and of course the judge was saying you need to stop ChatGPTing all of this paperwork. Now, how much of ChatGPT is writing his documentation, I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you this, right? I got a lot of paperwork and documentation that I submit in courtrooms now. This is well before ChatGPT was actually made public. Before ChatGPT was made public, I have had affidavits. I've had all kinds of different things, cease and desist orders, all kinds of things already drawn up and typed up. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know if Priest Baldwin is moving on that particular level, but what I can say is if a judge is telling you, hey, chill out on all of the ChatGPT, that right there is not a very good sign. It's not a good sign at all, y'all. It's not a good sign at all. And I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen moving forward, because this is the parts they're not going to tell you, but I'm going to let you know. I've already told you guys, right? If you guys are members and you are able to catch that live stream when I broke down the Daniel Muir trial, you guys know for sure I've already said that all of this stuff was going to happen in this case. I've already told you this is going to happen in this case. They've already tried to move the courtrooms, right? They tried to move it from state court to federal court. Now they took my suggestion on that. They stole that idea from me, right? Priest Baldwin did. He listened in on a live stream and he was like, oh, federal court, get it into federal court. Yeah, federal jurisdiction. It was already too late because you do have a timeline or a deadline before you can actually have that court case remanded to a federal court, right? Or not remanded, but moved from state to federal. But when it got to federal, if you're past the point, if you're past the deadline, they're going to remand that case, right, back to state. So that's where they're at right now. And the state's not going to be happy that you tried to pull the case and send it to federal, right? They're not going to be happy about that. And you will hear nothing from them. I give it a month and Dow will distance himself from Muir. Yeah, I believe so too. I believe he's going to distance himself as well. I think he's going to abandon Muir because Muir ain't got a shot or a snowball's chance in hell. He just really don't got a shot right now. And he really needs to play by the rules. And I keep telling him this. Play by the rules. Do what you got to do. Get a plea deal. Cop a plea deal. Stay out of jail, right? Stay out of prison, because right now, if you go all the way, you go all the way to trial, you do all of this other stuff, bro, they're going to slam the book at you for all the resources and everything that you expended for them. And you know for a fact that the private way that you're trying to approach it, you know, with you representing yourself, right? You going pro se, it's not going to work like this. It's not going to work. Get an attorney. You got to get an attorney for this one because you have a victim. There's a flesh and blood victim on your case. You got to get you an attorney. You got to get you an attorney. And I keep saying that. Get an attorney. There's a victim. There's a body. They have corpus delicti. Get an attorney. You understand what I'm saying? But now we at a point where we see what they're doing. They're bringing on more charges onto Daniel Muir. He's getting more charges. Now they're now these charges are serious charges. They're violent charges that are being placed on his record. That's being placed on him, right? And he's being prosecuted for more now. You know why? Because they have a case. They have a valid case, a firm case, and they know for sure that they can win. If the prosecution did not have a firm case, if they feel like that they were in danger or in trouble from all this paperwork he's been filing, private paperwork. Shalom, Mama Clay, welcome in. Shalom, Brother Nathaniel, welcome in. Welcome in. Mama Shay, my mother, welcome in. Basketball lover. My birthday is today. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday to you, man. Welcome. I'm glad you made it another year. But all praises to the Most High that the Father has decided for you to stay with us even longer, right? Because it is ultimately his decision. One thing about birthdays, y'all, is that it falls into idolatry, and we know we should not idolize ourselves, right? That when we are born again, right, when we reach another year of birth, that we should give all honor and all glory to the Father. You understand what I'm saying? Ultimately. But, you know, we don't want to do self-glorification that the world falls into. You know what I mean? Because some of them have birthday weeks, months, all that other stuff. But, you know, celebrating and remembering and appreciating the Most High for giving us another year. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. But either way, I told you guys, when I laid it out plainly, I'm like, listen, he ain't got a shot here. The best thing for him to do is find the nearest plea and cop the plea. Cop the plea. Save yourself and save even Christina Muir. They upped the charges on her. They upped the charges on Christina Muir. It's no longer just a basic obstruction of justice. They have upped it into a higher level of obstruction. And so this is what I know for sure. They're moving to make an example out of these two, and they're moving to move aggressively against their position. They got to go ahead and cop the plea. There's nothing they can do any further. They got to cop the plea. And I keep saying the same thing. If I was talking or deliberating with Priest Baldwin right now, I would tell him all day long, listen, you need to tell them to cop the plea. Cop the plea, man. Cop the plea. It's not worth it right now because you have corpus delicti. They have a body. They have a body of the crime. And if they have flesh and blood, guess what? You got to cop a plea. You got to figure out what you can do and just settle up with the person that you've injured. It is what it is. But the state don't play games when it comes to people who have violated, minors, right? It's a minor child at that. I understand if it was an adult, but when it's a minor child, They actually move a little bit more aggressively, and they don't care whether the minor child is showing up to court and all of this or not, or testifying. They don't care about that. They don't care if the minor child's testifying. They don't care if he's showing up to court. He's a minor, meaning he is not the age of majority, meaning he can't come to his own conclusions and make his own decisions, meaning he's going to do certain things that they are just not going to be concerned about because he's not old enough to make sound choices and decisions. Now, since this minor child has already been in the system, he has a social, he has a birth certificate, they're going to decide for him because that is their property. They can decide that based on his name, his birth certificate, his social security number. They have full jurisdiction to move into the position or situation, right? And they can move the case on their own. They don't need the minor child to be a witness. They don't need any of that. They can just move the case on their own. And it's just what they can do because there's been an injury and they have substantial evidence against him. They don't, he can't go in there and say, who have I harmed and who have I lost? Show me the man or the woman who have caused harm or loss to. He can't go into courtroom and try to cross-examine like that because this is a minor child now. Now so the state is obligated to get involved. Do you know the level of shitstorm that will come to their doorstep if the state did not get involved in this type of situation? If they did not handle it the way that they're handling it right now, if they did not do this, guess what? It would be a shit show. It would be a shitstorm for them because they'll be all over the news being talked about bad, especially if something happened to that young boy, right? So they want to be sure that they move aggressively because they've made those mistakes before in the past and it didn't bode well for them. So they're not going to let it go. They're going to move on it aggressively. And the only thing that Daniel Muir can do is move off his position of this I-man, of this private position he's holding, and then just step into what he needs to go get an attorney. He's got to get an attorney because this guy, Priest Baldwin, is going to be the thing that signs, seals, and delivers him to prison. I promise you. And he has autism, which makes it worse. Yeah, I believe he was one who's a bit autistic. I'm not too sure if he's the one who's a bit autistic or not, honestly, tell you the truth. But I know for sure they got a couple children who may be a bit autistic or on the spectrum, okay? Or on the spectrum, kind of like Mike, bro Mike might be on the spectrum a little bit. That's why he's so obsessed with me. Truth, Baldwin is a clown. Yeah, shout out, bro, Elder Jim McClain. Yes, he is an absolute clown. And his track record, he hasn't been very successful in court. That's another thing that they are failing to. They say, oh, trust in Yah. But listen, when Yah cannot be involved in a certain situation, you got to make do what you have. Because there's no way that the Most High is going to support you putting your hands on the child like that. And then not only that, the child position, right, of him actually violating other little boys. Now that right there, like I said, it's got to be a learned behavior. Where did he learn it from? Where did he get this sort of behavior from to where he's now violating other small boys? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? How was this introduced to him, right? What's going on within the Muir household that influences this young boy to want to go out and actually violate other little boys? If the place is so holy, if it's so filled with anointing, if it's so holier than thou, right? You hear the music that's on there. You hear the Straitway Goshen hits and things like that, right? Beautiful music. You would think the place is glorious, right? And actual moving in a certain type of high anointing. If it's an anointing land, if there's anointing on his life, why has his son got this sort of spirit on him that makes him crave or desire to violate young boys? I mean, if it's such an anointing on the land. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm sure that Daniel Muir didn't ask the boy to do it. Obviously, he was outraged of what took place. But where is the sin coming from that made him adapt this? How was he influenced? You understand what I'm saying? To move and to do what he did. How was he influenced? What influenced him to do it? There's no way that without there being sin in the camp, there's no way that this young boy would have had this inkling or had this urge or had this curiosity to want to violate a small boy, just violate these small children, whatever, how many ever it is. You get what I'm saying? He has never prevailed. Yeah, don't listen to the Goshen hit songs. Something is wrong with it. Yeah, and then that's my biggest thing, y'all, is that you would think there's a high level of anointing, based on what they say and what they talk about. You would think, man, this is a high level of anointing in this place. Straitway is highly anointed. But how is that true if there's children who are committing these types of sins and atrocities, right? And putting Daniel Muir in the position that he's in now? Because trust me, in a fit of rage, learning that your son violated some other small children or small boys, in a fit of rage, I don't know how many of you men would be able to hold yourself back from literally hurting this boy. Listen, it's difficult, right? When you're like, man, my son did that. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm just merely saying that, he lost all control. He lost control. So there's something going on there. There's something going on within the camp, and it's nothing that I'm speculating. This is all facts that's been written out. It's now in public court cases. It's now being talked about all throughout news outlets and news channels. We've read about it, read up on it. There's recent exposure that's come out about it. Now his charges are upped. Now he's all on in the world of assault. All that. You get what I'm saying? And it's inevitable, right? Like somebody said, Baldwin's a clown, or Elder Jim McClain said, Baldwin's a clown. He's going to sell him down the river. Brother's going to be in prison because he tried to represent himself instead of getting an attorney, a good attorney who can actually cop a plea for him, right? And get him on a certain level to where it may be probation. You get what I'm saying? He's going to have the book literally, proverbially thrown at him, because when prosecutors come this hard, they don't give a damn about your paperwork. All of your paperwork, when a judge is taking a look at your stuff and saying, I've never had a judge tell me nothing like that about my paperwork being filed in court. They literally told him, the judge told him, he said, stop using ChatGPT. I've never had a judge say anything about ChatGPT or AI or anything that was related to them they were just literally impressed by the paperwork that's being filed. I know Elder Jim McClain, he's really good at this documentation too. He knows how to approach courts. He knows how to get them to address the situation in a proper manner. He knows how to do it. And I'm sure that if he's still in here, he would be able to confirm that he's never heard a judge tell him that he needs to go get a real person. Well, he might have heard it before in his beginning stages, but when he really started getting more versed, right? I've heard a judge tell me go get an attorney, but when he started seeing what I was doing and he started paying attention to the paperwork and the filings, then he was like, oh man, he got this in the bag. He's got this in the bag. But it's like they only tell you this if they know for a fact. Look, Elder Jim, truth, brother. Yeah, they only tell you this if they know for a fact that you are up shit creek without a paddle. When they know that you ain't got no legs or grounds to stand on, this is when they start to advise you to get proper counsel. And when they're telling you to get proper counsel and you got a guy like Priest Baldwin and y'all think he's an expert, and they still are questioning his level of expertise at the stage he is now, you got to know that he's not an expert. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing or talking about because he hasn't evolved enough yet. He don't know what he's doing. He don't know how to approach a court. He don't know how to deal with a court system. He don't know how to deal with people in court in general, right? He don't know how to address them. He don't got the proper filings. You understand what I'm saying? I have to write and build contracts every so often. It is a skill in art form. Yeah. But you learn to appreciate it when you start doing it and you start seeing how they react to what you're filing. And when you're actively doing it, right, and you see, that's when you know for sure. That's when you know you got the right formula. And it actually does become like Brother Charlie said, it becomes an art form. You start to kind of fall in love with it a little bit, honestly. No. Baldwin is like a chaser, lawyer. Yeah. Yeah, he is. Muir is also investigated by Illinois. Yeah, Illinois. Also being investigated by Illinois. Illinois. I wonder why. How'd you come across that information? I want to see what that's about. Because if he's being investigated by Illinois, I believe they crossed state lines and they did bring them to the grandmother. That does fall in jurisdiction of whatever state lines they go in, right? It could be certain resources that they expended in that other state that they can actually come after the Muirs for as well. You know what I'm saying? Like they have certain levels of jurisdiction in those other states. And it could be just based on the resources. You know what I mean? The resources that were used in order to either check on the well-being, doing a wellness check or whatever it may be, or whatever, they can actually start inquiring about it. Now, only time I see that actually happening, y'all, is when prosecution is pushing for it. I've had it to where, I was stumping the guts out of Macomb County, the prosecutors over there. Shout out to Macomb County. Listen, I was stumping the guts out of a prosecutor over there in Macomb County so bad that she actually tried to pull some strings to derail me. And she did. She pulled some strings to try to derail me real quick. And so I know for sure if prosecutors are dealing with you on a certain level, they will call another state and they will ask them or request for them to do certain things. And that other state, they will do it. They will do it just based on the request. But they typically don't care unless somebody requested them to do it. And I would say that the prosecutors probably reached out to a different state like Illinois and asked them, hey, can you do this? Because they really want to make a real example out of the Muirs right now. And it's sad. Someone watching Corn generational curse or someone with sports on them sad poor teenager for him. Yeah. And so Sister Rose, absolutely, those are the sins of the father being visited upon them. And it's like, where is this coming from? Because y'all supposed to be out of the world, right? Y'all set apart. Y'all set apart community. Y'all not associated with the world. Well, why is that within your youth? Why is that sort of behavior, mindset, whatever it may be, influence, curiosity? Why is that in your youth over there at Straitway Goshen? Why is it in your youth? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not praising. I'm not laughing at it. I don't think this is a funny situation. I'm actually really just trying to help the brother. I'm really just trying to help Daniel Muir. I'm trying to help him out. And I'm trying to get him to understand how things work on top of not only that, but why. Why is it that your son is in this state of mind? I'm not making fun of him, not poking fun of him. I'm not trying to be derogatory towards him. I understand where he's coming from. I really wish he didn't lose his shit like that and start putting his hands on his son. I wish he would have sent him away or did something different that was a little bit more productive. But this is where we're at. These are the cards that's been dealt. So what do we need to do moving forward? Because listen, like I said, in this other live stream, about the Daniel Muir trial, I've already said this. I broke it down and I said this is exactly where they were going to be. More charges was going to come. Not only that, but they're not going to have a chance that this is not going to work. They're not going to be able to do this solo pros, or they're not going to do this this pro se. This pro se is not going to work out for them. They cannot go pro se here. They cannot represent themselves. They have to get an attorney to get them the best deal that they possibly can get. And I believe this is what they're pushing them towards, because they're bringing more charges, heavier charges that will land them in prison for longer, right? And they're telling them, they letting them know and giving them all the warning signs. We ain't playing with y'all. We got all the evidence that we need. We ain't playing games with y'all. Y'all need to do something to play by our rules, right? And y'all demanding this and demanding that in your documentation and your paperwork. I really hope that they filed one document, right? And they stood on that document. But I bet not. I bet they didn't. How much you want to bet they filed multiple filings? They're doing all these damn filings and trying to get them off their back. It will be a real show in Pulaski County, Indiana courthouse from, oh man, yeah, January 13th to 16th. Man, yes, it's going to be something. And y'all going to see what comes out. I'm going to tell you now. They've already brought more charges on these two. The next things that's going to take place is this. They're going to move to prosecute. They're going to ignore the public filings. They're going to ignore a challenge to jurisdiction. They have jurisdiction. If they challenge their subject matter jurisdiction, in this case, they have an established jurisdiction. And the only reason why they have established jurisdiction is because there's a flesh and blood victim. Corpus delicti has already been established. You understand me, y'all? Corpus delicti is the body of the crime. Who's the victim? They already have it established. It's the Muir child. It's the child. It's the child that's been victimized, okay? And they don't, he's a minor, so they don't care. They could care less whether he can be able to stand to testify in court. They don't care. He's a minor. You're supposed to be his guardians. So the state has taken guardianship over this boy, right? Because they put him in the system. But that's the reason why they can move. Now they've made themselves a trustee. They've made themselves a trustee of his estate. And they're moving the trust. They're moving his estate against the Muirs. That's why you got to be careful of what you're doing. Because, you know, my thing is this, right? Anybody who has a body or has a valid claim, yes, you should answer to that. If you have somebody who's a victim of a crime and you have a valid claim against you, you have to answer to those. Now, when it comes to people who have court cases and there is no victim, there's no body, there's no corpus delicti, you should never cooperate with these people and they ain't got no victim. What you mean I ran a stop sign? So why am I in jail if I ran a stop sign? Give me a ticket, I'll be on my way. This is commercial. It was a commercial code violation. I didn't commit a crime. You get what I'm saying? When you're in jail and you got no victim, you got no body, there's no established corpus delicti, which is an injured party. Man, listen, it's all fluff. You can ride that out. You can fight. Listen, I don't know what y'all talking about all day long. You can show up as an actual idiot. I'm an idiot before this court. I don't understand what y'all talking about. What do you mean? Is there a victim? Is there a man or a woman who caused harm or loss to? Yes or no? I've done that in court before during an examination, cross-examination. And it was a guy who I actually struck a deal with. And I asked him, I said, are you a victim? Are you the man or the woman who caused harm or loss to? Yes or no? Yes or no? He's like, well, besides my bonus, no. No, no physical harm or, financial harm. But your bonus is a privilege. So we ain't talking about your bonus. The judge asked everybody in the courtroom, do y'all believe that this man committed a crime? Talking about me, referring to me. Do y'all believe this man committed a crime? You can hear a pin drop, how quiet it was. Prosecution didn't have nothing to say. Nobody had anything to say. So they obviously didn't believe that I committed a crime. This is what you need when you're dealing with these court systems. You need that type of conversation. If you in there and they just claim that you had, it was with the intent, like an intent to distribute or an intent to do this, that they're trying to guess or to, assume what your intentions were. That is not a crime. They can't hold you hostage because they assumed you intended to do something. You got to prove what you thought I was trying to do. You got to prove it, right? And the only way they can prove it if you start talking and running your mouth and telling on yourself. If you bend and you fold, you start going with the system. That's the only way they can prove it. So if they're not copping a plea, if they're not trying to find the nearest exit out of your court case, then you got to know that they got an actual crime. They got an actual case against you, and you need to find the nearest exit. You need to find and cop your plea. You need to find and go get you an attorney who can get you the best deal, you and your wife, because you ain't gonna own. It's not only you got to worry about, Muir. You got to worry about you and your wife, Christina Muir, right? Y'all asses is on the line. They've upped the charges. They've upped the ante. They're there to make an example out of you now, right? They've warned you many times to get an attorney. I'm telling you, if I warned you many times, get yourself a real attorney. Stop listening to Baldwin. Baldwin's going to get you in prison. He's not going to, there's no way that he can be able to help you in this. I keep telling you the same thing over and over again, Daniel. The Muirs, y'all going to wind up on, I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. I guess that's what you, but my thing is this, right? You don't gotta, listen, your faith and your trust in Yah, you're going to get a solid attorney that's going to get you a nice deal and then get you somewhere where you can just do some community service or something. Keep you and your wife out of prison. Do it for her. Fold for her. Bend the knee for her. To spare her. That's real love. Sacrifice. Aren't we tasked to love our wives? Can somebody tell me? Are we tasked to love? What's the ultimate thing of love? Sacrifice. Muir, you got to bend the knee, brother. You got to do something to save your wife. Because you love her. I know you love her. But I know that you love the Most High. And I know that you might have a level of what you believe is right or righteous, even though you're a part of this wicked Straitway truth ministry. You got a level of something going on, but it's pride first. It's a bunch of pride. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Straitway is stuck in the creek. Yeah, they smell blood. The judge even knows it, and through that hint out there, yeah, the judge is going to try to help you. Just, some of them are jerks. Let me say that. Let me say it like that. Some of them are a-holes, okay? But you got some out here that actually do their role as a judge, and they will try to advise you the best way they possibly can without giving you lawful advice, without giving you legal advice. They try to give you some hints or some warnings that, hey, man, you enter into dangerous territory. I got a couple of those hints. I got a couple of those warnings until I actually proved my case. And I was actually, when I start kicking their teeth in, he was like, oh, okay. Okay. Young man know what he's doing. Young man got it. He got it. You know what I'm saying? And he was just supportive. But in this situation, we're this far along in your case. You've been filing documentation. You've tried to move it from state to federal. Federal remanded it back to state. Now look at where you're at. And the judge still is telling you, this is not a good idea, Muir. This is not a good idea. You need to get an attorney. And I'm telling you again, it's not a good idea. You need to get an attorney to get you the best deal. I promise you. And then you'll be fine. But if you don't do that and you keep listening to this Baldwin guy who don't know shit, he don't know anything about nothing. Listen, he knows bare minimum. When you keep doing it, he knows the basics probably. Barely entry level on this. You understand what I'm saying? He can't handle this sort of top tier, right? And some of the guys that you guys had a part of Straitway who could be able to advise you clearer, like Elder Jim McClain and myself, we're no longer a part of you guys. Y'all didn't respect or honor us or have any respect for us and what we could bring to the table. So now you just don't have those resources. But I can tell you now, but you better cop that plea. I can tell you now, cop it. Get it out the way, man. Get it out the way. Because we're going to see exactly how this plays out. The next step and the next moves is they're going to go in there. They're going to probably try to postpone the situation. And they're going to try to drag this thing out a little bit. But my thing is that they're just trying to buy time for the inevitable. Because if they continue on in pro se, if they continue on in self-representation, they are going to go to prison. It just is what it is. And I don't wish that on them. It is not a place that I would want anybody to be in. But I would say that they need to make a sound choice and decision to remove themselves as pro se and get somebody who actually can get them a sound and solid deal. Muir is going to be made an example of. The state is going to have no mercy in this matter. The best advice for him and Mother Chris is get an attorney. That's right. Get an attorney. corpus delicti is established. They have a body of the crime. They have an injured party. That injured party is a minor, right? And that injured party who's a minor is now a ward of the state. They are now in charge of his estate. They are now the trustees of his estate, the trustees of him, right? Now they are the ones who are moving the case. So you're fighting the state now. It's no longer a battle. It doesn't matter if the Muir boy shows up to court and testifies. It really don't matter at this point. The statements is what they were. When Muir said over the phone, I beat the hell out of him like he was a grown-ass man. When he said that over that jail phone, he signed, sealed, and delivered himself right to the prosecution. He admitted to the crime. He might as well just go ahead and plead guilty, get him a plea deal, and keep it pushing. Because he admitted to violence. He admitted to physically harming someone. And that's something you just cannot do. That was the dumbest thing that he could do, is admit that he violently injured someone on a jail phone. Dumb. Just absolute dumbass. I mean, come on. Why aren't you using your brain during this time? Why would you say this over the phone? Not only that, you're threatened what? Death or deletion, right? YouTube. You threatened it. You threatened that that would be a thing if they were back in the lands. That tells them that, hey, this person contemplated deleting somebody. They can sell that and pitch that to a jury all day long, and a jury's going to eat that up, and they're going to devour you, Daniel. They're going to devour you because they're going to hear the recording that was in the jail cell. They're going to hear you talking, you popping your shit, and they're going to be like, "Man, this dude is a cold-hearted, what is it called? CTE having NFL brute beast." Gorilla back, brute beast. Look how big he is compared to this little boy. And they're going to have your ass. I promise you. Don't take it to trial. Ain't no point. He signed, sealed, and delivered it over that jail phone. The dumbest thing you can do is get on that jail phone and start telling them you did something wrong. They're going to pull the records, bro. They're going to pull the records. They're going to listen in on the calls. And they're gonna be like, okay, we got this Negro. We got this black man. Look at him. We got this Negro. All right, we good. Shit, slam dunk. Shit, file can be this thick. And all you have to say is what you said on that phone. File can be this thick. And you just blew your whole case because you didn't know how to maintain your composure in jail. Over that phone. Over that phone. Muir is going to be made an example of. I read that. I doubt the court will allow any further continuations. Yeah, they already got enough. I think they maxed out. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Elder Jim. They already got enough. They've already maxed out. So they're not going to go any further than that. They're not going to let them continue on with delays. You understand what I'm saying? They're trying to get them in prison so they can make money off of them. The mercy jar is empty. Someone hit the Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. It's like, yeah, at this point, they really do need the help. They need the assistance. He was in jail literally thinking about his third wife after his release. That was the first thing he talked about. Yeah. So, and, that's kind of disheartening, too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, that's something he's not concerned about. His first wife, Christina Muir, maybe he's just not concerned about her. Maybe he's not concerned about her. Maybe he's thinking about this in a way of Paul, right? Or whatnot, in which he had to stand trial in Damascus, in the road to Damascus. And they said he was preaching and teaching not to keep the law, right? And he's thinking about it as he's being prosecuted. He's being prosecuted for his faith, and he's going to spin it like that. Like I'm going to ride for my faith. I'm going to go down for my faith. And this is not the situation that we need to, you got to know that the Most High ain't got nothing to do with what this is, what's going on here. There's a lot of wickedness going on. You understand what I'm saying? We got a minor child who's violating other minor children. And then we have the father of that minor child who's violating other minor children, now assaulting him, right? Giving him skull fractures, things like that, right? And he's a big man. You get what I'm saying? He's a gorilla back, NFL, ex-NFL player. You feel me? Ain't no jury in the world gonna hear what the prosecution has to say. And after the prosecution is done with his ass, they're gonna look at him like a evil, wicked beast. I promise you. By the time they're done painting the picture, this man is gonna be mincemeat, and that's the reason why they just don't need to go to trial, because prosecution is going to destroy him, his reputation, his image, his public image, right? They're going to literally pick him apart and destroy him, sell him down the river, and it's going to be a wrap for him. What is he going to say? What is he going to do? Right? Is he going to tell him, well, he violated other minor children, and that's what led me to, brother, there's no excuse. They're just not going to hear that. You get what I'm saying? They're not going to want to hear it. Definitely slam dunk. Yes. Slam dunk. There's nothing left. So just cop the plea. Do what you got to do. Now, if he does not cop the plea, if he does not do what he has to do, and he feels like he needs to go represent himself and his wife in court, then he's going to go on there. He's going to try his best to exercise his common law rights. He's going to look for the injured party. The injured party is the state, right? The state that's representing this young boy. And they're not going to have a valid claim. They're just not. I can see if it was another man, right? And he skull fractured and beat another man, right? And that man's obligation is to show up to court and testify. If that man does not show up to court and testify, then the case will be dismissed. But this is a minor child. This is a boy. They don't care about that. If you sought to even violate, right? If you sought to violate them, actually, you get what I'm saying? If you just sought to violate them actually, then they still wouldn't care. If they saw text messages and stuff like that, they would move the case on you in a heartbeat, because it's a minor that's involved, somebody who's not of age. They're not 18 or older. That's the reason why this case is not going to die. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes the state will pick up certain charges, but there's no victim. And so that's when you challenge them and you get them to dismiss. But the state has picked up the charges and there is a minor child involved, and that's the victim. You're not running from that. Now the state is going to do whatever they want to do because this is a minor child. You understand what I'm saying? It gives them all the jurisdiction in the world. In fact, Constitution is not going to help you here. Common law is not going to help you here. Challenging subject matter jurisdiction, right? It's not going to help you here, even though you're going to make claims that the minor child or the boy, right? That boy is your property. You're going to make claims and state claims like this. It's not going to hold up in court. It's inadmissible, right? And it's not only is it inadmissible as an argument, but it's also it holds no merit. It's meritless. They're gonna ask you, what the hell are you talking about? Minor, man, does he got a social? Does he got a birth certificate? Social? We got a birth certificate? Man, that's our jurisdiction. He's an American citizen. This is an American citizen. What do you mean? Yeah, this is our jurisdiction. It's our jurisdiction. We can be fully involved. Even if they didn't have a birth certificate or a social, it is a little more difficult. There is more hoops. But even if it's a foreign child, not a U.S. citizen, maybe a national American, right? But they've been violated or hurt or abused, the state is still going to step in and protect that child if they want to. They're still, if it's been brought to their attention and left in their hands, the prosecution is going to move regardless, right? Because there's a flesh and blood being who's been violated, right? Immigration gonna get involved. Somebody's gonna get involved here. You get what I'm saying? Even the NFL knows to kneel on the last 2 minutes to put the rest of the game that is fair ahead, that is far ahead on points. Yeah. Yes. It's like you got enough wisdom to just call it a day. Got enough wisdom to say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to win this battle. I need to what? I need to fold. What's that good song say? You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You gotta understand, like, some battles ain't meant to be fought. Not all battles are meant to be fought. Sometimes you gotta just walk away from it. Sometimes you gotta just chill out and let that thing go. You get what I'm saying? And you'll have better results that way. I'm pretty sure Christina Muir is over there shouting to the rooftops, like, please get an attorney for us. Please. None of this shit's working. And they got so much faith in Baldwin, because I promise you, it's not in the Most High. It's in Baldwin, right? They got so much faith in Baldwin and what he was able to do in Green Bay, okay, with you know, Kabir. He's got so much faith in that situation, right? So much faith there. There was no victim in that situation with Kabir, with Ryan, with Brother Jordan, right? There was no victim there. You understand what I'm saying? There's a totally different situation here in Indiana where there is a flesh and blood victim. So they got so much faith that he can be able to make something happen just based on whatever took place there, that they're willing to take the risk of having him, not only himself, but also his wife being sent to prison. And they not playing. Not only the courts, if he gets time, the inmates will give him the same beating, if not worse. When they find out what he is in there for, don't matter how big he is, he better PC up. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here in front. They actually do violate people like that, especially if they're like, they call them chomos, okay? They call them chomos. You know, and of course his son, right? Muir's son is a chomo, right? He's a chomo, right? I'm pretty sure y'all can put two and two together as to what that is. So that's what it is. They call them chomos, and they do not treat them very well in there. I promise you they don't. They don't treat them very well, especially if they're smaller people. But they're gonna have a paperwork party when he goes in there. And they're going to ask to see his paperwork. They're going to see his charges. They're going to want to see what's on his documentation. And they want to see what he in there for. And the moment they see that, right, he's got some explaining to do. Now, whether or not they start get violent with him, I'm not too sure. Because the way that they see chomos in there is something different, right? You might have some of them say, well, shoot, I would have done that to my own son. Right? If he was doing this, I would have whoop de whoop whoop. You get what I'm saying? And you got others in there that are probably thinking like, oh yeah, you should have done that. But I'm gonna say this, right? That I don't think that they would do too much to Daniel Muir. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they'll do too much to try to jump on him or nothing like that because of the situations and the circumstances of what actually took place. That his son's a chomo. His son actually did something to violate other children, so they might respect him for what he did rather than actually try to jump on him. But honestly, you never know. You never know. That's just me. That's what I believe. But you never really know. Some of them guys in there might take an offense to it and want to do something just because. You get what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you, based on what I know, how they view chomos in there, how they view them, it's something. It's not good. It's not good at all. Their life is in jeopardy. I promise you, you can lose your life in there just because you've been labeled a chomo. You get what I'm saying? Daniel, as a pastor, is supposed to report abuse. Yeah, and he should have never put his hands on that on his son. He should have never done that. He should have walked away. He should have really walked away. And he shouldn't have never talked on that jail phone either. Child beater is one level up from a. Okay, yeah, and I believe you, brother Charlie. Yeah, they don't like those in there either. They don't like them. They don't like them either. People who child abusers, they don't like them in there. They don't like them either, right? Chomos, child abuse, it could be likely, even though they might know a backstory or something, whatever it may be. But after that paperwork party, after he discussed whatever he's in there for, he got to be ready. He just got to be ready. You never know where you're going to catch it from, right? Down as a pastor. Well, PDO Graper. Yeah, the Grapers. That's right. Hard to beat Daniel Muir. He big and can fight. Yeah, yeah. I'm bigger than Muir. Yeah, brother Charlie's tall, man. You tall, brother. Yeah, he pretty tall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So they got a huge situation on their hands, man. They got a major situation on their hands, and I'm really hoping that they start to decide to make a wise choice. Get you an attorney, y'all. Get you an attorney. Get you an attorney. They won't like P. Diddy Dow in there either. And I believe that Dow's going to distance himself from Muir. I think he's already doing it, tell you the truth. I don't know exactly what his involvement is in this whole case. But I do know for sure that I don't believe he's too much involved in Straitway. And that's the reason why he comes out and says it publicly. Hey, I don't got nothing to do with these communities. I don't talk to them unless it's on a feast day, blah, 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 because he want to make it publicly known that he has nothing to do with what they got going on. You got Corey Phillips, who's over there in Missouri, right, running a community and abusing, right, these children, and sitting there beating them 30 days straight. Three people beating them three times a day, 30 days straight. He's an abusive guy. He's abusing children. And if that falls, that blowback that comes from that, right? The blowback that comes from that Dow could get from that, not only federal investigations, he has to come out publicly and say, I don't deal with these folks directly. I don't talk to them directly. I don't know nothing about the situations. He's got to make public statements like that because he doesn't want the heat to come on him. He wants to leave the other leaders, or his so-called leaders, he wants to leave them in fully liable for anything that happens in any of those communities. That's why he makes those public statements. He doesn't make it because somebody's accused him of being involved. No, he makes it because he knows what the hell's going on around here. He knows how Jermaine West is up there in Ohio beating on children, dropping them on their head. He knows how this stuff is going down. He knows how these men are treating these children and women in these communities. Just listen to the testimonies, man. He knows this full well, but he wants to be sure he relieves himself from all responsibility and obligations to it because of the simple fact that he don't want the blowback. He wants them to keep it all where they're at. Same thing with the Muir case. Same thing with Kabir up there. Kabir, who's violating and coming at women inappropriately, right? And based on what I know about Kabir, he's got that in his character. He's the type who don't understand a filter, who don't understand how to conduct himself, and to believe that, of course, since he's an ex-NFL superstar, that he can be able to do certain things. Since he's got some wealth, he can be able to do certain things that's inappropriate. But you can't do that to people. You can't do inappropriate things and think it's okay. They won't, okay. Trying to wash his blood-stained hands. Yeah, trying to wash his blood-stained hands, man. Trying to get out of the way of the line of fire. Kabir Captain DM. Yes, I'm trying to tell you, Captain DM, flying across all the way to Nigeria, man, trying to clap some buns, trying to clap cheeks. The dude has got an issue with lust, and he doesn't understand how to come to terms with that. Is the real motivation as to why he sought Dow out and is rocking with Dow so heavy and hard is because he can't have multiple wives and he wants to reach his goal of how many children he wants to have, right? Is that his real motivation? Is that the reason why he sacrificed his marriage with Eileen? I mean, did he sacrifice his marriage so he can have more women, so he can have more wives? And if she was willing to come along with, then he'd been more willing to receive her, but she's gonna have to receive his other wives. I mean, what's the real true motivation? Because I'm doubting that that is because he loves the Most High and because he wishes to serve. I believe he's there serving as well as Muir. They both are there serving Dow. Because if they seen the unrighteousness and wickedness, they would have left a long time ago, and they would have left them to it, right? But they haven't done none of that. They effectively are still rocking with dude. Straitway to broke back Mountain Ministry. Man, it's crazy, right? A minor child, a young boy, violating another young boy is absolute nuts. I'm like, wow, where'd they get this from? He wants like 90 boys or something. Practically disowned his daughter because she wasn't born a male. Aileen has mentioned this. Yeah, and he's the type to do something like that. Let's be honest, right? Based on his character. He's the type to do something like that. He's the type to that will put himself in a certain position, right? And completely reject certain things that don't benefit himself. He's got that level of selfishness, and it kind of was amplified when he's joined and clicked up with Dow. It amplified itself. Now he feels entitled to everything, and he's justifying that entitlement with "I deserve it" as a patriarch, as a man, right? Right? No matter what, if the land is in his name or ministry name, he is liable what happens in that land. Yeah, well, directly or indirectly, it could be something like a RICO. You know, don't forget about Deacon David up there in Green Bay. Yeah. And these guys are it's just waxing worse and worse. It's just waxing worse and worse. Deacon David, you got these people in leadership that's doing dirt. And that's the reason why they're in those positions, because the ones who are righteous, they saw the wickedness and they decided to leave, right? They decided to leave. They decided that they didn't want no parts of it no more. And this is what the truth is. And now Dow calls them wicked, even though he ordained them to a position of leadership, right? Because they didn't want to rock with him while he was doing all his wickedness, while he's doing all his dirt. They didn't want to rock with him. So now all of a sudden they the ones who wicked. You know what I'm saying? They learned it somewhere. Children don't get aware of those things unless they're exposed to it themselves. And being autistic, it is highly possible that boy what doing what done to him. Yeah, that the boy's doing whatever was done to him. And yes, that's right. That's the only way that these young boys go off and do certain things is if they was done to them. It was exposed to them in some way. That demon had to enter in. He had to come into agreement with that demon at some point, right? There's no way that he just miraculously discovered something like this on his own curiosity of the world, especially being autistic. It had to be introduced to him. It had to have been something done to where he then manifested it in his own life and actually took it and did something with it. And this is what I'm saying, that this is one of the biggest concerns when it comes to these cults. When it comes to these cults and y'all are running to their communities, y'all running to go join. What if STF truly does happen? What if shit really does hit the fan? What if the world really truly does go to shit? Then you stuck on these communities, right? And they got all this stuff that they covered up. And now it's actually happening to you and your family, where you all are being violated and put through certain things that you should never have to go through. All because you wouldn't listen. All because you just wanted to do whatever you wanted to do. You saw them building land or building on land, and that enticed your eye gates, and you got influenced to want to go down there and check it out for yourself. And you just had to go down there and do whatever, and get sucked into that love tunnel. You understand what I'm saying? Where they love bomb you to death until the points where you don't even remember your name half the time. You understand what I'm saying? Now everybody who's on the internet talking about this particular ministry and how wicked it is, now they all liars. And you believe you found some level of truth. Like we haven't been down the road that you just went down. We just already went down the road and we passed through, and we trying to tell you don't go down that road. You just gonna go anyway, huh? you just gonna go anyway. And that's what's sad about it. You're just gonna go anyway. But when shit really does hit the fan, he's already stated, Dow's already said it, you're not going to like who he is. Because not only that, he's the type, right? He has the type of character where you yourself, you're going to be a slave on that land. You're going to be a Hebrew slave on that land. Yeah, you're going to be working the lands. And he may seize your wife. He may seize your daughters. He may seize all of that stuff so he can be able to lay with them. So he can be able to produce with them. Same thing with Kabir. Same thing with the rest of them. They have it in their spirit to where they're going to enforce that. They're going to make bond servants and handmaidens out of you and enforce that. Shit hit the fan. Lawless society. You got to go based on what they tell you. And you really want some military folks to be telling you what to do, especially if they cold-hearted. You want some cold-hearted ass military folks who don't mind, who failed the evaluation. A lot of these dudes that's a part of your security team failed these psychological evaluations, meaning they're not all good up here, meaning that your life is in danger. Your life is in jeopardy. They may not even see you as human. They might even see you as a saint, as a fellow brother and sister if Dow says that you're not. They wouldn't mind upping it. They wouldn't mind eliminating you if they were ordered to. You know why? Because they want to have that man worship. They want to be pleasing in the sight of the Most High Yah, as they would tell you to. They will wash your mind in thinking you want to do something that's pleasing in the sight of Yah. So you think that, obey those who have the rule over you is your mantra, right? And then so when he says take him out, you think, okay, well, I want to do what's pleasing in the sight of the Most High Yah, and I need to obey those who have the rule over me. And they're going to do it. They failed the psyche vows. There's no way that they're going to rationalize this in their mind and compute it and say, you know what? If I do this, it's wrong. No, they're going to move. They're going to do. And that's all it is, because they're ex-military, maybe ex-NFL players who are used to just doing whatever they're told. But ex-military guys, they're used to doing what they're told. Right? Or if they've been trained or mind washed, then they're going to be used to just doing what they're told based on what Straitway says. Right? True. Gideon was itching to practice on me with his 15. Well, that's not cool. That ain't cool at all, brother. Mentioned in the book, not the main storyline, though. There's a book written in the 90s, Lights Out. There's a community like Straitway / Overcomer Ministries, where electric grid goes out, and that community turned into a sex working camp / slave camp. Yeah, come on. That's the biggest concern. I'm trying to tell you now. The biggest concern is that these folks are going to be trapped, and they're going to be locked into this situation, and they're not going to be able to find their way out. And if they find their way out, it's going to be in a body bag. And that's the only way they can be able to get out of this situation. Yeah, they're playing well now because they want to avoid bigger guns, like the intergovernmental system moving in on their position. Because obviously, take a look at Goshen and how quick and how swiftly they moved in on that thing. They knew exactly what time they would not be on alert. They knew exactly what time of day. They knew how to move into Straitway Goshen like swiftly. Right? They knew that they were going to get up for that morning prayer. And as soon as they hit that morning prayer, that's when they hit their ass, because they knew they've been watching them for a minute. You don't think that they're going to do that for every community? If they found themselves to be somebody in that position, right? Yes, they're bigger guns. They're going to move in swiftly. But when it comes to STF, right? Shit hitting the fan. No rule of law. Like brother Charlie here, 15 Signals just said, it turned into a what? It turned into a sex worker camp / slave camp when them lights went out. When them lights went out, the real beast came out. The real animal came out. That real, the wolf that was in that sheep's clothing revealed itself the moment that he saw vulnerability in the people. The moment he saw an opportunity for them to be vulnerable. They went from the men on the land being able to carry however they feel they wanted to carry, to now it being regulated. You can't have one in the chamber, right? If you're going to carry it on the sidearm. Other regulations are being established to try to disarm the man. the men in on that land. So if they wanted to quick fire, they could not do so. But me personally, I was on that land and I had one in a goddamn chamber. You understand what I'm telling you? I had one in a chamber. You understand what I'm saying? I already didn't trust them. So I ain't no way I'm finna be on this land without one in the chamber. We already had a powwow conversation where y'all threw me under the bus. Man, listen, I'm putting one in this chamber. Something go down, man. I need to be able to fire quick. I can't have no delay. The delay, that 1 extra second, I might even forget to rack the slide. Couldn't do that. So I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that me and mine was gonna make it to the house. You understand what I'm saying? One round, they ain't asked me no questions about nothing. Bet not ask me either. Bet not ask me either. And they told me multiple times, like, hey, you can't have one in the chamber. You can't have one in the chamber. I'm like, I can't? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, no? Okay, all right. Still had one in that motherfucking chamber. I ain't trying to hear it. Not trying to hear that at all. You understand what I'm saying? Teacher Shane mess around and his stepdaughters down kept the girls at his house before the mom finally decided to leave. The fan Straitway that's crazy. And we already know Teacher Shane, that whole situation was covered up, never spoken about again. This is what I'm saying, y'all. You absolutely right, Paul. This is what I'm saying. See, Paul, this is what I'm saying. That's what takes place. The Teacher Shane situation, him violating small girls, swept that under the rug, promoted him to teacher. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all really think that when SHTF happens, when she hits the fan, y'all really think that y'all gonna be safe in these straightway communities? That y'all really think y'all gonna be safe in these Hebrew communities? Do y'all really think y'all gonna be safe on these camps? Y'all really think y'all gonna be safe in these Scientology type of environments? Do y'all really think y'all gonna be safe and secure inside of these Methodist churches and these Methodist compounds? Y'all really think y'all gonna be safe? Because they claim that they follow the Bible, because they claim they follow the scriptures, because they claim they follow Yeshua or Jesus. Y'all really think y'all finna be safe? What's in y'all heart? What's in their heart, though? What's in their heart? You understand what I'm saying? Y'all really think y'all finna be safe? Yeah, rude awakening gonna come. I'm trying to tell you. The mother never reported it and just left. He has a chomo. He has a chomo look on him. Yeah, Sister Rose. Yeah, he does have a chomo look. I'm not gonna lie to you. But my thing is that yes, she did leave. She didn't say a word, man. And that's crazy to me. Cause ain't no way that my babies is gonna get violated and I'm just out. I'm just leaving. But that's the level of fear that they instill in a lot of these people, a lot of these women, a lot of these men. You see a lot of them ain't speak up, ain't spoke out yet. You get what I'm saying? Regardless on what the Most High said, regardless on what the law, statute, commandments command them to do, they still ain't said nothing. Down playing left, like playing Minecraft in sandbox mode, out of touch with things. Yeah, he's very out of touch. When you got young Ishas trying to teach you life, it's crazy, yo. She get crazy when you got young Ishas trying to teach you things about the world and life. And that's how you pass it off. That book in PDF form is uploaded in the Facebook group if interested. Okay, I might have to check that thing out, man. You should drop that in Discord too. I might have to do a couple videos on it because I'm about to start doing a video blitz. I took a little bit of time on. Straitway reminds me of Jim Jones to live on a community with a child hall makes it easy to drink the Kool-Aid. Absolutely. Cyanide. That's right. Makes it that much easier. And you're putting yourself in jeopardy. You're putting yourself in all of this danger. But that brings me and leads me into my next topic here. When we're drinking the Kool-Aid, when we're putting ourselves in situations, this whole situation with Candace Owens, this whole situation with the French government, Candace Owens, and the rest of everybody else over there at Turning Point USA, and I'm going to say it 110%. When I listen to a lot of things that's being said, not only the evidence that's being presented by Candace Owens, right? She presents a lot of different evidence in which they're trying to discredit that. But I'm listening to what she's saying and how she's saying and her relationship with Charlie Kirk and what actually took place. And I'm just like, there's no way that we should ever believe that these people aren't capable of a mass genocide. There's no way that people mysteriously die, right? Or pass away or were deleted mysteriously. And we shouldn't start to really question what we're really looking at. Is this really something that took place that, like, even with the whole Kevin Samuels situation, the way he just passed away out of nowhere? Do y'all know that Kevin Samuels was making such an impact on relationships, not only in the black community, but all communities of people? He was making a major impact. And you see now Dow is trying to mimic and follow what he's doing, right? You see Dow trying to take credit for telling women or whatever, right? Go listen to Dow's latest video and how disgusting he sounds with trying to pretend like he's Kevin Samuels, like he's the one who, oh, what's your height? How much you weigh? All these other things that he says, I always asked him these questions, not giving no credit to Kevin Samuels, because KT or Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels was always the one. He was the one evaluating like that. What's your height? What's your dress size? How much you weigh? And you see this disgusting man over here, Dow Jr., still in his content, still in his way, the way that he evaluates women. You understand what I'm saying? It's absolutely disgusting. It's disheartening. The man passed away. So now you want to take credit and try to act like you Kevin Samuels. Like, come on, man. Now you're trying to grift and steal his people because now he's no longer with us. Now all of a sudden you're the one who asked him these questions. Give credit where credit is due. Give honor where honor is due. Man, I watched Kevin Samuels and I start asking some of the same questions Kevin Samuels asked. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. You get what I'm saying? Man's passed away. Honor his legacy. Honor who he is. And don't try to steal his content. And that's what a lot of these content creators do. Like Dow. These content creators will go out here, take a look at other people. Man, Dow has stolen stuff from my channel. He has my disclosure, my copyright message that I put on all of my content. I put a message of copyright on there. He stole my copyright message. I'm reading it on his channel and on his videos, and it's verbatim, word for word, the same thing. And get this, he didn't put him on his videos before. Not until I stumped him out and he tried to do a copyright strike against me, and I had myself covered, right? Now I'm reading verbatim, word for word, what I wrote for copyright. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just like, yo, this dude a thief. Then not only that, he's trying to do the same thing in his live streams on Fridays, right? His drunk talks, right? Trying to do the same thing and mimic or mirror not only myself, but also Pastor Rufus, trying to mimic and mirror us, right? Except for he was going to attempt to do shout outs, but he said, nah, I can't shout out this many people, you know? Content creator. This is what they do. They go find other creators and they start to mimic and start to steal their shit. They start stealing their content. And it's very distasteful that Dow has chose to steal from Kevin Samuels. It's just like, bro, get your own shit. Like, bro, or just give them credit for teaching you how to evaluate a woman and talk and ask them what their dress size is and how much they weigh. Like, come on, keep it real. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be out here faking the funk. Literally stole this man's content. But either way, when we're taking a look at this, right, we're seeing what's going on with that and how Dow's stealing his content, stealing his approach, all that. We know for sure that there's something wrong. We know for sure. Because when I'm listening to things, when I'm hearing Turning Point USA, right? And I'm hearing what they're talking about. And I'm hearing that they're trying to drag Candace Owens from the safety of her platform, right? And into their establishment where she could be possibly eliminated or deleted. It's a bit suspicious. Why are you so driven to get her there? Especially when we hear messages coming from X, right? To where they're saying that the French government has ordered an assassination or a hit out on her, and they wanted her to be gutted from yeah, they wanted her to be gutted on live camera while the camera is rolling. So the same company and corporation, TPSU, Turning Point USA, who could possibly be really guilty of assassinating Charlie Kirk or been heavily involved in his assassination, also wants to bring another very known with the number one podcast in the world. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. Candace Owens gets millions of views in less than 24 hours. We're talking 100,000 plus is watching on a live stream all at once. That's major influence, and that's a major threat to their society. Whatever they're trying to do, their agenda, it's a huge threat. Same way that I'm a huge threat to a lot of these cult leaders, right? To a lot of these false individuals, false brothers. Of course, they're going to call me a heretic. Of course, they're going to call me names. You know why? Because I'm a major threat. Major threat. A lot of us who are truth speakers are pointing out truth or revealing truth. Huge threat. There's no other thing that they can do other than try to discredit who you are when they know that you're a threat to them. They get real terrified. And it's the same situation here with Turning Point USA and Candace Owens. There's no doubt about it. Trying to discredit, and if you don't want to show up in person, discredit you. Oh, we gave her a shot, gave her a chance. But how is that supposed to be trusted when you have you can actively just do it remotely? There's no point in having somebody show up in person, especially if you got death threats against them or if they're in fear for their life. They're concerned that someone may try to assassinate them. And I very well believe that, yeah, they're trying to do that. We have Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron, who came to the United States and made it dinner, not only with the Facebook mogul Mark Zuckerberg, but also with Trump and with others, right? Which, damn, Trump is a complete and total betrayer. You understand what I'm saying? I thought he was on Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I'm saying? Like, you having dinner with these people? With Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel Macron, you having dinner with these individuals? Like, come on now. But they were here in the U.S. Seemed like they were here for a reason. They already did a cross from one country to another country lawsuit against this woman, right? What makes you think that they won't do other things? And which, of course, they effectively requested that the United States stand down. All they want is Candace Owens, right? I wouldn't be surprised that conversation came up. Hey, just stand down. Let us handle this, right? Let us be able to do from one country to the next, right? And plot against another American citizen and trying to take her out and take her down, right? And trying to assassinate an American citizen. So why would public defense want to stand down from that or not want to get involved, right? It was questioned. Is there a French intelligence that's trying to assassinate Candace Owens? They laughed about it. They made jokes about it. And I'll tell you this much, man. That, you know, the only reason why they laugh and make jokes about something is if they wanted to brush it off. They did it live. If it didn't hold merit, they wouldn't talk about it. So it does hold merit, and it is something that she needs to be very cautious about. Everyone copies the black man. Come on now. Kevin Samuels is someone that taught that doctrine. Yeah, absolutely. True, Brother Vic, but most women want high value men. Yeah. What did I miss on him on Muir? Yeah, so yeah, you missed a lot on Muir, brother. You're gonna have to play it back. Yes. It's just like Brother Daniel. My Brother Daniel. Yes, sir. Man, I'm pretty sure I believe you were in there in the house, in the building during that live stream that I did covering the Darren Mill trial. And I was telling you guys about what was going to happen next. Everything that I said was going to happen next actually came to fruition. It actually is happening right now. They listen, more charges came. They're not playing games with them. They need an attorney. Long story short, go back and listen in. I'm trying to tell you, we peeled it back. We peeled it back. Go back and listen in, brother. Go back and listen in, or play this thing back and listen in on it. Asking for a dress size in the truth just don't sound right. I learned to stop talking or taking things from the internet and mixing it with the word. Yeah, I mean, why would it matter to you, right? It's because, when some people take an attempt in trying to put on somebody else's persona, or they take an attempt and try to steal somebody else's material, they want to see how it works. They want to see if it's going to be something special for them or popular for them. So he's just testing the market for this type of thing. It's another lure to try to lure somebody into his ministry. And he feels like if he talks like Kevin Samuels, that he's going to be able to do that effectively, right? It just is what it is. Let's keep it a real. Let's keep it a buck. Give the man his credit where it's due. That's totally his shit. You can't. There's no way he popularized all of that stuff. Like I said, Kevin Samuels, listen, the level of influence that he had, it was turning relationships around. Marriages were improving. You understand what I'm saying? The women were waking the hell up and coming out of this damn stupor and thinking and believing that they were smelling their own rear end. They were coming out of it. They were starting to wake up. Yo, I need to get in the gym. Yo, I need to be sure that I'm. You can't have a society that's woken up, that just wants to have healthy relationships and marriages. No, you need a society that is fighting amongst each other, that have broken homes, right? You can control a society that's not strong enough, men who aren't masculine enough, who aren't strong enough, who don't know how to deal with their emotions on a healthy way. This is what you need. You need emotional men who are immature, right? Who are obsessed and will never stop and quit with trying to have discord and contention, right? This is what you need and require from a society. You can't have men like Kevin Samuels who are changing the fabrics of time, right? Who are adjusting the fabrics of time by talking and speaking to people and getting them to realize things. Now you're changing the outcome and you're prolonging what their goal and true mission is. Same thing with Candace Owens. This is somebody who's changing the fabric of time. Satan knows that he only has but a short amount of time, so he's going to try to move fast, right? But when people speak up and speak out, and I'm not saying that Candace Owens has it all together, faith-based, right? I believe she's a Catholic now, which I believe that that's the wrong way to go. But either way, if she's still serving the Father and she's being a decent individual who's not contributing any harm to society, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna support you. We can disagree on our viewpoints in faith, right? But I still can support your position. I'm somebody who don't agree with Christians. I don't believe that Christians got it all together. I believe that Christians are too soft. I believe that Christians are too soft and they allow too much leniency in their faith, in their core beliefs. And me personally, I can't get with that. But guess what I'll do? I'll still support you. I'll still defend you. I'll still help you out. But listen, my thing is this. I just don't agree with your core beliefs. I got a warrior spirit. I can't bend the knee every single time that somebody requests me to bend the knee. In fact, I got pain in my knees, man. It's hard for me to bend a knee with anybody if they're not Yeshua or if they're not the Most High Yah. You get what I'm saying? So I don't agree with the passivity that Christians teach, right? And I believe that that's another position that a lot of people hold, and that's the reason why they have left for Christian churches, because it's too passive. They all want to go skipping through daisies and prosperity. Nobody wants to feel conviction or feel hurt or feel like they need to repent. Nobody wants to feel this stuff. So it's all passive, right? Seeking with itching ears, wanting to hear what they want to hear. So that's the reason why they're struggling as a faith or a core belief. And I'm saying this not so they can, I'm saying this so they can do better. Because you do have some groups who are very driven. Like you listen to the guy, what's his name? Even though I don't agree with every viewpoint, he does have some good messages, right? Over there in 2819 Church. I don't agree with everything he's talking about over there. But I will say that he does make you feel conviction in a Christian religion, right? I give him props for that because it's not popularized anymore in the Christian community, in the Christian religion, of the preacher making you feel convicted, being fire and brimstone coming down, right? It's just not popularized. Everybody wants to feel good and want they heaven on earth. That's what they all want. There's times for that, but now's not the time for that. Man, Jesus said, turn the other cheek, not lay down. Yeah. It means be ready and willing to forgive, brother. Yeah. Be ready and willing. Be ready and willing to forgive the brother. But don't be no pushover. Don't let them walk all over you. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. That turn the other cheek is destructive for the Christian community. And like I said, I still support y'all, man. I still got love for y'all because y'all read from the same book, even though that y'all don't keep the ways that you should. I still got love for you. You still acknowledge Yeshua. You still acknowledge Jesus. You still acknowledge the book, at least, you know, and, Yeshua told us to love our enemies. I'm not saying that they were my enemies, but, you know, if I should love my enemies, then I damn sure got to have a little bit of love for these Christians. You get what I'm saying? At least tell them the truth. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Catholics, don't certain Catholics turn to reading the Quran? I'm not too sure about that. The Talmud, maybe, but I'm not too sure about the Quran, my brother. I'm not too sure about that. I haven't studied Catholic faith that much, honestly. Their core belief system, I know they believe in Mary and stuff like that, and they're into that type of idolatry. But when it comes to like thorough studies with the Catholic religion, I haven't like thoroughly studied Catholic religion. Not as much as I've studied Jehovah's Witnesses and Methodists. You understand what I'm saying? Because those two right there are active cults now. They're like legit cults out here bashing people, dragging them through the filth. You know, that's what turns you into a cult, is when you're bashing the people who are once a part of you and they decide to leave and you start tearing them down publicly, bashing them, all this other stuff. That's what really turns you into an actual cult, nowadays. You get what I'm saying? McClain. It appears thou is trying new bait for fresh fish, hoping for bite. Just saying. Yes. And you're absolutely right. He is. Yes, Mom Clay, you're absolutely right. Definitely new bait to try to catch new fish. You know, so why not talk about these politics? Why not talk about Trump? Why not talk about all these other things? Because the same people who are falling into those traps, right, time after time, they're going to fall into them. In fact, we need to roll out some more testimonies. It's time for more testimonies to come out. More interviews need to come out, and we're going to do that. I'm trying to. Once I get back into the studio, we're going to get those things done. We're going to start doing some more. I want to do some in-person interviews too. You know. So, eventually when the Worship Podcast get big enough, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all share this live stream. Y'all make sure y'all like this stream. Share it. Worship Podcast get big enough, man. We're going to be flying people out to get on the show. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to be doing. And I claim that by the end of this year, we're going to be pulling in enough resources to where we can be able to not only help many saints that are leaving these cult environments, we're going to be able to help many saints that are leaving or have left. We're going to be able to help them after verifying them, making sure that they're valid. I don't care if it's Straitway. I don't give a damn if it's Straitway, GOCC. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't care if it's Scientology. I don't care who it is, right? If you need some assistance or help, man, listen, I'm going to be looking to help. I'm going to be looking to get that assistance. But, we got to get on a level where we can be able to do that freely. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how it is. And we all need some help at some point, man. I really wish I had somebody to be able to reach out and help me and do something, show me some love. You feel me? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you who left this cult, I'm pretty sure a lot of you wish that you had something safe to be able to do too. But like I was saying, right? We got to identify a lot of this stuff because this all ties into each other. You got to know that they all play their role, y'all. They all play their role. When we're dealing with these things, you got to know it's all a part of a psyop. It's all a part of a mind wash. It's all a part of control. It's the basic levels of control. Wanting control, seeking to control the minds of the people, regardless, the minds of the saints, seeking to do it. I'm trying to tell you now. And the reason why they want that so badly is because, like I said, when you're playing for that side of the fence, when you're playing for the house of Satan, when you're playing for him, you got to know how to move in his favor. You got to know how to move in his favor. You got to know how to move quickly in his favor. You got to be very cunning in the way that you do things. So yeah, if you are a dial, you're going to start to take on other little things and try to put it out there to catch more bait, more new fish. This is what you're gonna do these things so you can lead them astray, so you can get them into idolatry, man worship, whatever it may be, worshiping the things of the flesh and not the things of the spirit, right? Same thing when you're identifying these things that are taking place and you're saying, man, they really did assassinate this man, Charlie Kirk. They really went out their way to set him up. He really did predict that they were going to do this to him. You got to understand that Yah will give you the visions. He will give you the dreams. He will have you see it. And just as Charlie Kirk was saying, he vividly knew that he would not make it to an older age. A lot of times that's what happens when you have a voice in this country, in this world. When you have a voice, you tend to not have a very long life expectancy. So you got to be accepting and willing to accept death the moment you open your mouth and you start to speak out the truth. You got to be willing to accept it. Say, you know what? This is a possible outcome here. Because I believe that people are being healed from the truth, and the truth that's been that's setting them free. This is a possible outcome. It's possible that people who are probably very wealthy and very powerful would want to take me out. Just ask JFK. When he started dibbling and dabbling and start messing with the Zionists, trying to force them to register their businesses, trying to force them to register as being over here in the U.S. When he start dibbling and dabbling into that, next thing you know, he's in Dallas getting shot. Next thing you know, he's in Dallas getting, you already know. Right? Because he dibbled and dabbled in the wrong thing. And these Zionists don't play about that. They don't play about you trying to mess up their money. Do you think they play about that? They literally pray for that. They pray that you yourself will be so low on the totem pole. When they do things, I promise you, when they push out whatever it is, they're hoping that you will stay in a subservient level to where they can be superior financially. And they pray for this. They pray those curses into everything that they do. That's the reason why they developed IPAC, right? AIPAC. I've talked about it many times on this podcast. That's the reason why they developed it, so they can control your politicians. Trump is one of them who's a part of the IPAC funding program. You understand what I'm saying? Lining the pockets of your politicians so they can be able to be sure they got the control. Do you not think that IPAC is the one who's determining what president you're going to have next year or within the next 4 years? Do you think that IPAC don't determine that? Do you think they not have a say in it? They got a say in everything else but who your next president is going to be. I believe that they have total say. These Zionists got more say as to who's going to be our next president than we have as American citizens. It's just not the same. We're not going to pretend like it is. You get what I'm saying? We're not going to pretend like it is. They got more say than American citizens do. So let's keep that a buck, right? And when somebody like Candace Owens or like Tucker Carlson or somebody like that come out and actually tell you the truth on a lot of this stuff, they start to peel back the layers as to what people are doing. That's when you get people like Turning Point USA, or you get people that's trying to literally come and physically threaten people and trying to assassinate them and trying to literally take them out because of the simple fact that the truth, the amount of truth that's coming from it, is too hard and it's too tough for them to bear. What y'all think happened to Yeshua? Yeshua was speaking nothing but truth. He was speaking nothing but facts, and they hated him for it. When people are getting on here talking truth, you got to know that they're going to be hated regardless. When they speak in truth, when they speak in facts, And you're going to know the difference because their character is going to match the truth that they're talking about. The truth that they're speaking, their character will match it. Some of them will be quick to, like Dow, he'll be quick to take on a persona that he's the one who's being persecuted. But you can tell by his actions that he's really somebody who's not a victim. He is perpetuating. He is a predator. You get what I'm saying? You will know them by their fruit. If they got nothing to gain from the truth and telling you and making sure you know the truth, you got to know this is what it is. George Soros is someone in the upper, okay, compared to downstairs and so. Yeah, I know. Of course, I've never really actually dived into George Soros like that, but I do know of him. I know of him for sure. I know of him for sure, and I know that you're accurate in what you're saying, brother, bro, Vic. A lot of those cult leaders that are religious and in the public are the bootsmen of the network. The ones doing dirt in the public, the public sphere, with their protection. Yep, that's right. That's why I say like some of these guys got to be CIA agents right now, like because they're operatives actually doing this whole situation, trying to see what they can be able to affect and what they can be able to distract. That's right. So when we're seeing this stuff, right, y'all, we gotta know that we gotta support it. And my thing is that with Candace Owens, I could care less. She's married to a Caucasian man that's from Britain, a British fella. I don't care. I could care less, man. I could care less. I know a lot of people are trying to like say certain things, but I'm like, yo, that's a black woman who's intelligent, she's highly intelligent. She's very good at what she does, and she's successful. I'm tired of us people in the black community, right, tearing each other down. Even when people are showing that they're doing something positive, right? You still want to tear them down. Like, that's not cool. Like, protecting and defending her, regardless on who she decided to marry, that's something that us black men and honestly, melanated individuals, we should band together. All people should band together to protect truth. Same thing with this whole, and what I really respect the game. Like, you don't get that much, right? I really respect the game, that the rapper, his name is The Game. I really respect his lyrics. Okay? Let me pull him up real quick. I'm gonna pull him up real quick because he actually was saying some things, speaking up and defending truth, defending people's right to be able to speak on truth. Now, whether he's doing it for clout or for attention, still the message is the same, right? The message is the same. And we say, of course, that these people are satanic, they're wicked. And a lot of that is 110% true, I promise you. But when will some of these people have an opportunity to turn a leaf, right? And I'm not saying that, oh man, nah, I'm saying like sometimes you got to listen to the truth that comes from the words. Chew up the meat and spit out the bones. You get what I'm saying? Snow Bunny Crisis, like Dr. Umar been saying all these years. Snow Bunny Crisis. You funny. Yeah, so man, people be falling into it, brother. You know what I'm saying? People be falling into the Snow Bunny Crisis, man. It just is what it is. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna look up the lyrics real quick. Yeah, let me go and get them lyrics, man. The Assassination of Candace Owens. And so this is a song that he made. And I thought this was a dope ass situation right here. If I train you niggas today, will I go out like Alonzo, Monte Carlo, withered with hollows, gargling blood that I can't swallow? Right? So man, listen, he literally saying if he were to train him, if he were to do this today, then that's what would happen to him. And you know, soon as rappers die, they get a couple million followers. Yeah. What's the oh man, what's the infatuation with violence? Now, we can say the same thing when he says that when rappers die, they get a couple million follows. Like they get even more popular when they pass away. Now, my thing is this, right? You got a guy named Nipsey Hussle out here, right? And I've been a guy who respected Nipsey Hussle's craft, right? And what he's done for his community. I believe in California, man, he was a pillar. He's done a lot to build up his own community. And then they murdered him. And then next thing you know, everybody loves Nip. You get what I'm saying? Nipsey was like this guy who was always like an underground, sort of underground type of guy to me because I don't believe they ever mainstreamed him enough, right? And people didn't give him enough respect for his craft. But he was talking about some legit stuff that actually made you want to do things to build wealth, right? And then next thing you know, all of these people are now like huge Nipsey Hussle fans, right? And that, you know, when he's saying this, man, spot on, spot on. I mean, gunshots loud, but at funerals, all of a sudden we get silent. Land of the tyrants, where murder spread like a virus, and life is a bowling alley, and we just in that bitch, and we're just in this bitch with Iversons, and we're just in this bitch with Iversons, just young thugs, whoop de doo, no biggie, no bad. So, but I blame the media. This cancer we live and dying in, and you only get one life. You can't erase this shit and try again. You only get one life. You can't erase this shit and try again. What does the truth matter? What does the truth matter? And why you gonna be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? Lie to me, smile, treat me the same way you would treat me. I can't treat you the way I treat him. You must, you must. Okay, so that must be the hook, or that's the intro. Verse 1. Truth is people love to be lied to, and they wouldn't believe it happened if it happened and they were sitting right beside you. Now, that's the thing, though, because when I sit here and we talk about these codes, right? We talk about these codes. We talk about all these other things that's going on in the society. People want to pretend like that we're sitting here lying, that we're sitting here talking and blowing smoke. And you know, I heard this thing. It was like people don't believe, they believe a lie faster than they believe the truth. They will force you to prove the truth before they'll force you to prove a lie. You can sit here and lie to somebody in their face and then they will just receive it. But the moment you start telling them the truth, they want you to start to prove. Come with receipts. You got to bring receipts and all this and that. Well, why don't you make them bring receipts when they start telling lies? When they start spewing out these lies, why don't y'all say, hey, man, where's the receipts? So Candace Owens is so frightened for her life. She was a Dollywood after the threat. She was in Dollywood after the threat. She went to Tucker Carlson's Christmas party. You are so easily duped. So yeah. So my thing is this, right? There's one thing about being fearful, and there's another thing about being cautious, right? There's another thing about being cautious. Me personally, just because I'm cautious and I'm concerned about safety, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be so afraid that I'm going to be tucked away in my house and not want to go nowhere. Tucker Carlson is somebody who's a trusted source for Candace. I wouldn't be surprised if she's at a Tucker Carlson event. I just wouldn't be surprised. Now, if you are somebody who has death threats and you're fearful of your life, right, because you don't trust in a higher power, right, to protect you or to guide you, whatever it may be, and understanding if it's your time to go, it's just your time. There's no stopping that. Then I would expect you to be a coward, and I would expect you to back down, and I would expect you to stay your ass in house. You understand what I'm saying? Stay a little scary ass in the house and let the big boys come out here and move like big boys move. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I'll say to you. You get what I'm saying? Hype Williams, whoever, or Love and Mrs. Stay your ass at home. Be in fear. Well, we know that you're not a real believer. You don't have a higher power to believe in. You only can believe in yourself. And you're only this strong, right? Mentally, you're only as strong as you can produce. Physically, you're only as strong as you can produce. But when you believe in a higher power and he does not give you the spirit of fear, you move differently. You start to ask questions like, hey, why are you at a Christmas party when people are threatening your life? Because I don't fear man, I fear the Most High. I fear him and what he could do to my body, to my flesh, and then to my spirit. And I'm not fearing man who can only do it to my flesh, who can only do it to my body. You understand what I'm saying? So you move different, Love and Mrs. You get what I'm saying? Miss is talking about I'm easily duped. I understand and I see where your faith is. You get what I'm saying? But if she's out here moving like she's fearless, I don't knock her. If she's a believer in the Most High, I don't knock her. You know why? Because that's what she's supposed to do. If you're a true believer, you're supposed to be moving like you're fearless, like you fear nothing, because you're not supposed to fear anything. You're only supposed to fear the Most High. So you should be trained based on your level of understanding, based on your level of love for the Father. You should be trained on how to move with no fear involved at all. You get what I'm saying? Fearless. So if somebody's out here moving like they're fearless, I commend them. Even though that people are threatening their life, their very existence. You can't change the society. You can't change the world. You can't make global influence or an impact on a society of people by being afraid and being a coward when you're being threatened, when your life is being threatened. You can't do that. You got to move fearlessly. And then that's how you change. That's how you garner influence. When you show these people that you're not afraid. The moment they start to sense the fear and smell the fear is the moment they're going to move in on your ass. The moment they can control your voice. The moment they can control your actions and control you. Love and Mrs. I'm trying to tell you now. When are you going to get it through your head? When are you going to actually realize that that is what they do use to control you? They use fear. Fear is the great manipulator. Fear is the great controller. If they can instill the fear in you, then guess what? They can control you, your voice, how you move, all of that. They can control everything about you now because they were able to put the fear in you. So yeah. Oh yeah. You see that she didn't show up to the Tucker Carlson event. She must be scared and afraid for her life. They can't say that, can they? Neither can you. You can't say that either because she showed up, didn't she? Okay. I think that more people should be like that. I think that believers who are true believers in the Messiah, who are true believers in the Most High, you should move like that no matter what. I remember when Mike over there, who's still obsessed with me, by the way, who's still over there talking, right? I remember he was all yelling on a video, stay in the house, McCain, let me find these people, McCain. I'm just like, bro, this is getting out of hand. You get what I'm saying? This is getting way out of hand. I could care less. I don't give a damn about what you're talking about. I'm still out here moving the way that I need to move. You get what I'm saying? But this is how these people operate when they want you to. They want to try to control you. When they try to instill fear in you, inject you with fear, moving as to someone that you're not. Don't be a coward. If you're not a coward, don't be one. Right? Don't be one. He wanted a boxer and a crip to beef with you. Just sad. Yeah. I mean, come on now. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And my thing is that, yo, some of these people, you got a guy talking, so-called Crip, struggle rapper in Houston, ain't made it nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? Struggle rapper out here talking. It's like, come on, y'all. We gotta understand when we gotta identify when people are immature, when they're not handling certain situations like they should. When you go over there and you still see the level of obsession, of obsession, absolutely obsessed, won't stop, can't stop, just drain every ounce of room, holding free rent. I'm out here making moves and helping, building up the family business. I'm out here doing what I gotta do, what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Trying to pour into the community, trying to pour into the Warsheep Nation. You feel me? Trying to pour into. Listen, and we re-ramping. We're gonna be redoing every. Listen, we're gonna be going hard. Give me a couple. Give me a few more days, right? Give me a little bit more time. We're gonna be going hard, man. I got some stuff set up to where we're gonna be going in, and we're gonna be pulling out and punching out a lot of these situations and scenarios, and we're gonna shed a light on a lot of stuff, y'all. And I think that, even the more so, I got a great community, especially over there in Discord. Great community of folks, man, who bring out solid information, who have solid conversations. Shout out to Brother Vic and shout out to Brother Charlie. You get what I'm saying? Because they be on there talking, they be introducing information to people all the time. They be keeping up with a lot, man. And I gotta say, man, shout out to y'all because I gotta get on the ball with it, or I gotta get somebody who can really get into it because it's important for us to stay connected and stay communicating. When we did the group over there in Discord, with the Warsheep, I might rename it. But when we did this group, man, I wasn't expecting a whole lot, man. We got 30 something people in there. And if we can get more people who are more active, who are talking, communicating, and fellowship and things like that, that would be wonderful because it'd just be great to have some fellowship in places where we can have like minds and we can talk about some things. So I really respect and appreciate a lot of the people that's been keeping up and with each other over there in the group. And if you want to be a part of the group, you need to go ahead and holler at me. Reach out to me and I'll drop you a link so you can come in. But it's been a beautiful thing to be able to read up on some things, to be able to catch up, especially in my time where I'm passing through. And I got a little bit of time to be able to, look at it while I'm driving or whatever it may be. It's been a beautiful thing to see and check out, man, that there's some fellowshipping going on and we got some truth that's being put out there. And some of it makes the show. We talk about it here on the show a lot of times too. And some of it we come together and we build out the show based on some of the newfound evidence that we got. We present it. Our brother Odell, if he found some dope stuff, we'll talk about it. But that's just kind of what the environment is like. A bit of teamwork. We get some things done, right? He wanted, plus a Straitway member who passes his gear to people to pass it to him when Jermaine F. West is called to do dirt. Yeah. And I remember him saying that. Now that was really odd too. And this is how these people act, man. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. After these things, the word of the Elohim, the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abraham. I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward." Hallelujah. Yeah, Genesis 15:1. Fear not. That's right. I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Very good scripture, Mama Clay. Very good scripture right there. Now, a lot of these people just don't get it. You get what I'm saying? A lot of them don't get it, man. Like, how you gonna move like that? I'm trying to tell you now, like, when I was like being wrongfully incarcerated, right? I'm gonna talk about this real quick. A lot of those guys, man, I was trying my best to keep my head down. And I'm like, I'm just passing through because these guys were doing some real messed up stuff. I mean, I'm in one of the most violent jails in Detroit, and there literally I see why, because a lot of people were being their stuff being stolen, a lot of people were being stabbed in there. A lot of people were getting jumped or whatever it may be in there too, right? You got this gang that's forming in the same pod. The pod holds about, I think, over 30 plus men, right? And you got this guy who's forming a clique upstairs, right? They're getting a bunch of guys together, and all of they're looking to do is steal from people and commit atrocities against people. You got me sitting down there with some of the older guys, right? Who might be in there because they smoked a little bit of dope or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they went to Walmart and tried to steal something, but they just chilling in there, right? They just shooting cars. They all relaxed, chill, just trying to pass time. And that's where I'm at. I'm at where people are just trying to pass time, because that's what I'm doing. I'm passing time. We be playing cards. I'm keeping my head down. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just passing through. And I'll never forget it, man. They went in there and stole some stuff from this older man who just came from hernia surgery. And that's when I just about had it. I was absolutely fed up, y'all. I was fed the fuck up. I'm like, man, I'm getting sick of this shit, yo. Man, I got up, I stood up there, and I called every single last one of them out. I called them bitches and everything. I'm like, man, y'all awesome bitches, man. Y'all gonna steal from this old ass man, and y'all gonna, he just came from hernia surgery, man. I called all of them out, y'all. I called them all out, every single one of them. Called them bitch, all of that. You know what I'm saying? And then, one of the guys who was supposed to be like one of the leaders of this particular clique, he got up and was like, man, look around. Ain't nobody with you right now. We can do X, Y, and Z to you. We can do this and that to you. We can do this, this, and this to you. And I'm looking around like, yo, okay, all right. I'm like, man, I just told him, I'm like, look, man, I said what I had to say. And I went ahead and I walked away and I sat down and kept playing cards. You know what I'm saying? And they start telling me about what they would do in prison, yada, yada, yada. And one of the guys who actually stole from them, you understand what I'm saying? And one of the guys that actually stole from the old man came up to me and was like, man, I hear what you had to say, man. What should I do, man? Should I just give it back to him? I'm like, yeah, bro. Yeah, go give it back to him, man. Apologize to him. And so he did. He went and gave him his stuff back. He apologized for it, gave him his stuff back. And they kept it moving. But they didn't really like me in there because of the simple fact that I wasn't rolling with that. That's not the type of shit that I was on. I just wasn't with it. You get what I'm saying? I hear you. I see what you're doing, but I've never been the type to just go follow that because that's what everybody doing. Nah. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But eventually what turned out was that, of course, a lot of those guys who formed the clique upstairs, there was a conflict. Man, we handled business and got a lot of those guys up out of there. And which now then they look to me to be able to help them out to knowing what to do, how to do it. A lot of stuff they was not doing it unless I gave them an okay for. But it turned the environment in that place, in that pod. I'm talking 30 plus men in one big ass cube. Man, we were like brothers. We treated each other like family. When we cooked up, when we did certain things, it was for everybody. We, looked out for everybody. Started this little spade tournament thing to where people who did not have food, if they didn't have commissary, they didn't have food, they can join this spade tournament or whatever. And they had an opportunity to win it. They had an opportunity to gain it or win it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people who won it, they would share some of that with somebody who didn't have much, right? Because that would keep it down. A lot of the people, and what I started, like I said, I started to see a more of a pattern coming from these guards. When people would get jumped and get their stuff taken at another pod, they would bring them to my pod, right? Because they knew that they were not going to get their shit took. Nobody was stealing from people, from each other in my pod, right? So they'll take and bring a lot of these misfit guys. And my pod was looking kind of crazy, right? And it was pretty full, but it was looking kind of crazy because I had a lot of guys who are weaker looking guys, right? Who, might be Caucasian guys, wherever it may be, weaker looking guys in there because they just got robbed in the last one, right? And it's like, man, hallelujah. Hallelujah, man. And a lot of them told me, like, man, I really wish I would have been here. I wish they would have started me here first. And then, so that way I would have had more, right? My family would be trusting more. But in these other spots where I was at, my shit was getting took every time. You get what I'm saying? They're like, man, I wish I would have started out here. Because I wasn't having it. I wasn't tolerating people stealing from each other in that joint. But they had plenty of opportunities, and I had plenty too. So I used to give people who didn't have much. I used to give them some of my commissary or some of my food, just to look out for them. But yeah, I used to give them some. And I remember this. Y'all tell me if y'all don't want to hear about this stuff, all right? But either way, I remember this other time. It was this big kid, man. He was a young boy. He was actually a kid. You know what I'm saying? He was like 18, 19, but he looked like a grown man. Or he had a grown man build, right? So they used to send this young boy to go and do certain things that was not cool, right? He used to go into people's cells, beat them up, and take their stuff, right? And he was a runner. They used to send him to go do stuff like that. And he didn't mess with me. He didn't mess with the old man that lived next to me. Nobody ever messed with them or messed with the old man that lived next to me. But it was like they didn't come to my area and do nothing like that. But one of these days, I guess he took some stuff from this older guy, a melanated guy, right? He's an older guy, stocky build, right? Honestly, he looked like this guy is stocky build, melanated dude, big brother, right? But he's just older now. But it looked like back in the day when he was younger, man, squabbles. You understand what I'm saying? Like he didn't play no games, right? He still had a nice build, still had some big, it looked like he can get down, he can squabble. But back in the day, didn't nobody mess with him. And that's how that's how he held himself. But he's an older man now. I guess the young boy who was the runner owed him some stuff because he borrowed it from him like a day before or something like that, and he never gave it to him. So they got into a bit of conflict about it, right? The young boy who they were using as a runner had some commissary in his hand, and the older guy came over there and snatched it out of his hand, and they started to get into this whole conflict. The older guy wasn't playing no games. Old school was not playing with that guy at all. Young buck, man, he was about to get it. You understand what I'm saying? But the older man was a little bit, you know what I mean? You know that he might still got some fight in him, but he's still an old dog. You get what I'm saying? He's still an old dog, but he still got fight in him. And everybody get into this conflict about this commissary. And I'm like, I just got up there and I was like, look, man, what's going on? What's happening? And I'm like, well, he said he owed me some stuff and he wasn't trying to give it to me. And I'm like, well, listen, man, so did you get what you need? And he's like, yeah, man, this is all I got. I'm like, okay, come with me. And I told the old dude to come with me, and I brought him to my cell, and I got him some more of my commissary and gave him some of my commissary, right, on top of it. And then, so now he still got Young Buck's commissary, and I gave him a little bit more. And then I walked him back to his cell. And then the Young Buck was like, hey, man, what about my stuff? What about my stuff? And I looked at him, and I looked at his comment. I'm like, yeah, nah, he keeping that. He keeping that. So don't even worry about it. He keeping that. And so he kept Young Buck's commissary. He had a little bit more for his trouble. I'm like, boom. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. He keeping that, man. And he just was like, oh, shit. So we settled the problem. And then we actually showed, like, listen, man, nah. You don't just sit there and treat him like that. Like, if you owe the man something, you got to get a man what you owe him. Give the man what you owe him, man. Quit playing with him. Because you think he older and you Young Buck, you going to just try to big dog him or something. Yeah, old school wasn't playing with him. He was trying to big dog him. But that was some of the things that they were threatening me about. You get what I'm saying? Because I'll be doing shit like that and they'll get mad because they're trying to do wickedness. They trying to do evil. And I'll step in there and do something like that. And it's just foiled their whole situation. So now they can't move the same way that they wanted to move, right? They can't do the same things they want to do because somebody is going to step in and regulate it. And it's like when you're standing on the principle of the Most High, when you're standing on Yah and you're standing on what his principles is, he always will lead you and guide you into all safety, all truth, all not whatever it may be. He gonna protect you. It is what it is. right? It is what it is. He's going to protect you. But you gotta trust and believe in that wholeheartedly. You can't let people come out here and try to make you think that you're supposed to be moving in fear or you're supposed to be a coward, right? Stand on your truth. Stand on what you know is right. And then you keep moving in that light. So, right. Okay, so I got some things I got to do at around 9, so I'm gonna have to shut it down, y'all. I had to shut it down, y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all want to hear more stories about that type of stuff, man. I got plenty of them. I got plenty of them. I got plenty of them. But honestly, when I talk about this stuff, it's because I'm proud of what the Most High brought me through, and I'm proud of what the experience truly was, and it honestly shined a light on some things that I didn't know about myself. Right? When you're being tested in the area, it's cool to say like, man, listen, I'm not gonna bend under pressure. I'm gonna stand on truth or whatever it may be. It's one thing to talk about it, and it's a whole nother thing when you're actually being tested in that to see if you're truly gonna do it. Right? And then when you stand the testing, when you weathered the testing, you got to reflect on what the Most High has brought you through, and you got to put stock in it. That really is what builds the character, and it builds the confidence that you can be able to stand like that. You get what I'm saying? So in your experiences, in your lives, when you overcome things in life, remember, always remember that you need to put stock in the things that you've overcome. There, you are strong individuals. You're very powerful individuals, especially if you're a believer. And in that belief, you're keeping Yah in center focused. And he brought you through the world's challenges. I promise you that you are such a strong person. And when you reflect on that strength and when you reflect on the things that he brought you through, you're going to literally build your confidence in him, because you notice one thing, right? That when you are going through all of these trials, all of these tribulations, all this turmoil, when you are going through it, that he is the one who strengthened you that whole time all the way through. You couldn't do it alone, and you knew it. You know that you couldn't do it alone. Always give him glory. Always give him honor in the things he strengthened you through, right? And with that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. Bless y'all. I really appreciate y'all kicking it with me here today, joining me for the Flock Sunday. All right? We're going to see y'all in the next one, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way out, man. And we'll see you in the next video. Shout out to the people. Shout out to the War Sheep Nation. Bless y'all. Peace. And shalom, shalom.